Okay, we'll make a start. Thank you firstly for joining SEO Traffic Hacks, and I hope that already you found it really valuable and gotten a lot of great tactics and techniques out of it. Tonight is the first of our webinars, and it's a little while since I've used GoToWebinar, and it may have changed a little bit, so could be one or two little technical issues, but I'm sure we'll figure those out as we go along. Now, the agenda for tonight is as follows. Firstly, I just want to talk a little bit about what probably should be your number one business asset. And from quite a few of the internet marketers that I talk to, they don't necessarily appreciate that this is kind of the thing to be focusing on, but in our business it's absolutely huge and something we're talking about every day amongst staff and what we're seeing and researching and so on. The next thing I want to talk about is how Google at the moment is on a real rampage against publicly advertised blog networks. So you may have seen, for example, that AngloRank on Black Hat World was targeted. And there are a couple of pretty disturbing aspects of how Google is actually going about that, but I'll get into that more when we get to that item. That brings us on to what I think SEO is going to look like in 2014 and what you kind of need for healthy links. And it's a bit different, and it's a lot more kind of cautious and a bit of a different strategy from what we've gotten away with in the past. I want to have a bit of a talk about anchor text ratios as well, and I've got concrete examples of all of these to show as we go through. And as I kind of get to the end and cover each section, if you just want to type your questions in, I'll do my best to answer those as the police go past. Tonight there's a big soccer match in the stadium right across from our office, so if you hear some kind of strange chanting in the background, you'll understand what that's all about. I want to talk about penalty removal options and look at a couple of new developments there. Some free extra services now available to you on SEO Traffic Hacks that you may not be aware of yet, and also get into your question and answers as well. Obviously, excuse me, obviously you can have Q&A, just ask your questions on each of the areas as we go through, but at the end you might have some others that weren't covered, and part of the point of these webinar discussions is that you get to ask questions directly that perhaps I didn't go into a huge amount of detail, or there was some point missed on the in the training area forum, and you just wanted a bit of extra explanation. So there we go. So let's jump into the first area, which is what probably should be your number one business asset. Now, as I say, I talk to a lot of internet marketers in what I do, my day-to-day business, and for me, you know, I hope that one of the things you get from SEO Traffic Hacks and get from these webinars is greater clarity and being really clear on what you need to develop your business quite quickly. So for me, the number one business asset, and I'm not saying that these aren't very important, but they're not necessarily the main thing. It isn't SEO knowledge. It isn't your JV partnerships, it isn't your media buying skills, or even your disciplinal focus, which are really, really important. Really the thing that you should be looking for are converting templates, and it's kind of a simple reality, unfortunately, that most websites don't convert, and they certainly, in almost all cases, they don't convert immediately, and they require fine-tuning and testing and tweaking and research. So when you can find those templates that are already converting, that are already getting sales and you know, a proven performance, those are basically gold. I mean, if you have to, you can kind of move heaven and earth to get traffic to them, set up affiliate links if it's relevant for that, set up autoresponder campaigns, but you kind of have to start with that core of a converting template. So if we know that's crucial to what we're doing, then the big question comes, how do you actually find those? And on SEO Traffic Hacks, you do have this area here of monetization example sites. So there are 5 up there at the moment that are pretty conclusively very strong performers, ranging from small-scale affiliate-type businesses right up to Atlassian, which is $1 billion company now. They've been going for a long time. So you've got a really good range. And if you missed my discussion on that Avada WordPress theme on ThemeForest, I mean, that makes big money. That's $1 million plus a year from a single WordPress theme. And I can tell you that ThemeForest.net Parasite pages, inner pages there, do rank extremely well, and often, interestingly, because I have worked directly on ThemeForest.net SEO at the Parasite page level, quite often it'll be above the actual ThemeForest.net category page for that particular thing. Obviously, they aren't doing SEO on that category page, and you can come in with an inner page, PR0, and just leapfrogging much higher page rank category pages on that site or even other big authority sites. So I don't recommend plugins, by the way. I mean, my own personal experience is that WordPress plugins can be very temperamental, and you can find that they can raise a lot of conflict issues and stuff. One of the plugins that I developed in 2012 was one called WP Blogfresh, and you may actually have bought it and probably got a refund from it because there were conflict issues. But just to very briefly give you a bit of background on it, what happened was that I wanted a plugin that would automatically populate a WordPress blog with outbound authority links to relevant pages, and it used Blacko for that. So, for example, let's say I had a weight loss blog, it would automatically put no follow or do follow outbound authority links at the bottom of every post, and it would look for a weight loss inner page on, for example, CNN or New York Times or Oxford University. There was quite a long list, and it would do it all automatically. It would also put in relevant YouTube videos, relevant images, and it would actually, depending on the setting, it could change those at any time. So, for example, we might change them once a day. And what we found, because we were tracking Googlebot activities, when we had that refresh going on, it got Googlebot back very quickly to kind of observe the changes. And in extensive testing, and it cost a lot to develop this plugin, it worked perfectly, absolutely perfectly on every possible different hosting setup and version of WordPress we tested it on. It all seemed fine. And when it was actually released, it went out into the public and became available for sale. Almost instantly, there were huge conflict issues, and I think in some strange cases it actually wiped blogs completely, and it just created an absolute nightmare. And that can be really typical of plugins. They can be very temperamental and react badly to other plugins, but you probably won't find that. And WordPress themes tend to be simpler and a lot more robust, and you know, you can, if you've got a good concept for a theme, you can certainly get plenty of ideas on ThemeForest in their WordPress area, even looking at Avada. And I've written in a bit of detail on my blog about why I think Avada works as a seller. It's got great preview options on ThemeForest, and it's also using a lot of remarketing. So after you visit that page and go around the web, you're going to see banner ads constantly for Avada. But in itself, it's actually not necessarily an amazing theme, and certainly the way they presented it there is very good. But when you have the theme, which I do, and I've looked at it, it's pretty, it's pretty basic kind of normal operation inside it. So those are the kind of just some ideas there for converting templates. And at the moment, probably in your portfolio, if you've got multiple websites, you've got ones that aren't working. And these other ones could be relatively quick to set up and just possibly give you a nice side income going. So it's good to always keep an eye out for converting templates. So as I say, you can go to that area in SEO Traffic Hacks. You can also go over to mixrank.com and get a free account. And I'll just show you how that will look. So here, for example, I'm on MixRank and I've got a free account. This is not paid, and I put in weight loss. MixRank is basically a kind of ad monitoring platform. You can pay to get a lot of extra functionality. And we can see here on this top one, this thyroidweightloss.com here, that this landing page, according to MixRank, has been shown, this particular version here has been shown 705,000 times, first started in 2011. And if we actually go and have a look at the page, this is it here. And it's not a pretty page. It's pretty old school kind of ClickBank type page. But the fact that they haven't modified that page for a long time could suggest that that's actually converting quite well. You need a bit more research into it. You might, if it's on ClickBank, go and have a look at Gravity or the affiliate program it's in. But that's a quick way to get some ideas. You can also have a look at display ads in here and look at the offers. You know, if you're looking for headlines for emails or sales pages or whatever, opt-in pages, you can come over here and have a look on display ads, and it will show you what, so here you go, here's a display ad, a banner ad that they're using, fix your thyroid equals lose weight. And quite an ugly kind of banner. And funnily enough, in my experience with media buying and banner creation, it is the uglier ones that tend to do better than those that are kind of quite corporate looking. So MixRank is a very good option for you. You can also have a look at whatrunswhere.com, which is kind of like a MixRank but a lot more expensive. You can look at bestsellers on cbengine.com for Gravity, though it's good if you can kind of see where the traffic is coming from. You can have a look at top-ranked programs in different affiliate networks like Commission Junction, CJ.com, or JVZoo. You can also go to SEMrush, of course, and the Google SERPs themselves. Like in your niche, if you notice one of your main competitors hasn't changed their landing page for a long time, it's not a guarantee that it's an absolute winner in converting, but if they haven't, it's more likely that it's doing okay. But, you know, there are ways to obviously test that. So I really encourage you to, when you find these, to bring them to SEO Traffic Hacks and share them with the group. In the training area there, it isn't just about me and what my team is researching here, but anything that you can bring to the party and add to that training area is also greatly appreciated. So just any questions on that issue of finding and using converting templates? Okay, it seems like we're good. Feel free to fire away in any of these areas. So let's move on now to some real SEO stuff. Now the disturbing thing about the way Google has gone after AngloRank here, and I've written about this in SEO Traffic Hacks, you know, and I'm getting this feedback from other SEO guys as well. It looks like that when Google goes in and rumbles these public blog networks, and they did it last year with Build My Rank was a spectacular one to out. And in a way, they've sort of been pretty quiet on blog networks, public ones, for a while, and been kind of lazy and complacent. But at the moment now, they're getting super aggressive with it. And what I'm seeing that is really disturbing is that they're kind of going in there and looking at who's been building links and basically hitting those money sites, linking from, for example, here, AngloRank with manual penalties. So typically that involves a ranking slap of up to like 5 pages, but doesn't really matter if you're off page 1, you're probably not going to see that much traffic. And they've sort of, Google, it seems at the moment, is making the assumption that those public blog network links were actually built by the company who's receiving the link. And of course, this is just a huge green light for negative SEO if it needed any more green lights. And I can just see so many kind of white hat, ordinary kind of mum and pop sort of webmasters now who have been relying on Google for traffic and money just getting slapped because a ruthless competitor has negative SEO them, put them into something like AngloRank and sort of just waited for Google to out that blog network. So pretty disturbing that they're doing that, and it just seems a crazy sort of scorched earth policy. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen Google giving out more manual penalties than right now. So it's just a crazy time. Now, having said that, one of the weird ironies is that when I'm seeing parasite pages like YouTube videos and things like that, even I'm seeing it with like theme forest pages using exactly the same blog network links as normal websites, these parasite pages aren't getting slapped. Like their rankings are holding up absolutely fine, which is sort of crazy. If you're building links with public blog networks. Does it matter whether they go to a normal website or not? Doesn't really, but at the moment, so far, the way Google is operating is that these links to parasite pages are kind of immune to these manual penalty slaps or ranking slaps. So at the moment, bottom line on that, you do have to use public blog network links with care, and if you are doing it, I highly recommend that you do it with parasite pages and not directly with a money site, which could attract a manual penalty. Let me just check my questions here. Let me just start down here. Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of talk about negative SEO here. Let me just scroll down, just checking your questions in the tiny little question window in GoToWebinar. I actually have a Skype premium account, and last night I was with one of my Skype groups and couldn't cope with 10 people on the call at once, and we had to actually abandon it and move over to GoToWebinar. Wasn't a good look. Let me just see. So I've got a question from Kernewan. I hope I've got the pronunciation right. What about a review product site? What is a good converting template for that? I would look at what's already working. So that involves, like, have a look at things like MixRank. You can put in URLs or you can put in particular terms there, and you can have a look at what is actually working now and what's been up for a long time. It could well vary product by product. And I think, you know, one of the worn out old arguments in internet marketing and SEO is it about kind of quality content that converts, or is it about SEO or whatever? And my kind of stand on that is that really it's about converting content. Whether or not it's quality is really in the eye of the beholder. So if you've got a celebrity gossip site, that's probably fantastic for that audience, but for other people, that's pure junk. So it just revolves really some research. But if you want to email me, I can send you some extra ideas there. Let's have a look here. This will be recorded, and I'll make available a PowerPoint presentation for Mohammed, as well. That's there. Is it better to have each blog on separate hosts or just simply separate IPs? I'll come to that when I talk about more about healthy links and so on. So Peter has contributed. I simply use, I think it's Arret Tester. It's a bit hard to read in that tiny box. Arret Tester to find a nice website to copy at the SERP. I'll have a look at that, Peter, and I'll add it into the training area. Thank you for that. Negative SEO. Occupy Google, not a bad idea. Any template ideas? I would have a look at bestsellers, and I would have a look at Template Monster as well, and look at particular niches where you think, for example, there might be potential gaps there, but the ones in the bestseller category and sites like ThemeForest already organized by bestseller are going to give you good ideas there. And one of the things I notice on ThemeForest that WordPress developers don't do is they don't offer the great preview options that Avada does. So with Avada you can go in and just change any background color, texture, style, font, things like that, all these different options. And it's a little bit like buying property. People tend not to have that much imagination, and they want to see something very close to what they think is right for them. So that preview option obviously takes extra work on ThemeForest, but definitely worthwhile. Okay, I think I will review these questions, and if I've missed, I will come back on email, I promise there. So if Google is targeting these public blog networks, what are your options? I think right at the moment it's good to kind of wait on using those, and obviously it's expensive to have your own private blog network. Between buying the domains, and I do teach a method that still works great inside SEO Traffic Hacks, where, for example, we buy PR 3s and 4s, constantly for around $25, something like that. And I don't think you'll find better prices than that anywhere if you go to Digital Point or yourmaindomain.com or any of those. I don't think you'll do much better than those prices, but of course you have to do your due diligence on that. So the alternative right now, if you're setting up and you don't have access to private blog networks or your own private blog network, is to use a public one, but obviously not one that's been outed like AngloRank, but use it with parasite pages. So have a look at what might already be ranking in your niche and keywords. Could it be a PR web press release? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about those in a minute and how to use those best. Obviously, you've got YouTube videos. It could be, a Facebook page. You've got quite a range of options there. What I would also do is I've kind of had a few reports of this, and probably not enough to be really scientific, but it's really worth taking the precaution. If, for example, you've got your money site, more than one money site in your main Google Webmaster Tools account, I've had a few reports of people getting one site having a manual penalty, and then shortly thereafter some other sites that had completely different kind of healthier link building in that same Google Webmaster Tools account also getting manual penalties. So there may be a bit of a contamination effect. So I would encourage you to set up separate Google Webmaster Tools accounts. You can get some useful information there. Google Analytics, the same goes there. To me, Google Analytics functionality is really compromised by the fact that they're not giving keyword kind of search information anymore for organic search. You may as well go and use StatCounter or PWIC or one of those. It's still got a few useful functions, Google Analytics, but that taking away the keyword search data was a real killer for me in Google Analytics. Now the only thing is that Google, you're going to need different Gmail accounts, different Google accounts for this, and that will require phone activation. And what I've tried in the past is to actually basically go onto Black Hat forums or even on Google and buy already phone verified Gmail accounts, and just watch out for this, because you can, for example, spend 10 or 20 bucks on getting 100 phone verified Gmail accounts, which seem to work fine when you buy them, and then 3 days later Google has retroactively or retrospectively gone back and basically just closed them all. There was something given away in the setup process. You can set up a few Gmail accounts on one phone number, but you're going to need probably a few numbers to get more and spread your sites across more than one. So Steve is saying Google's tying Gmail logins together now. So another option is to use a different browser and even a different proxy in a different browser. So if you do your main work in Chrome, and you kind of see why Google was very keen on Chrome for just like data gathering, you might, for example, have Firefox set to use a different country proxy, and you use that as kind of a fallback option to get different accounts. Just checking here. Okay, moving on. What is probably useful now is I would even separate hosting for each of your money sites. And one thing I want to raise here, and I do get asked about this quite a bit, is that in Google Webmaster Tools, you've got the option of telling Google that your site that is hosted in the UK should rank in the US, for example, or your site that is hosted in the US should rank in Canada, or you don't have the hosting in the actual country, but you can manually go in and tell Google to rank it for that particular other country. And in my experience, that is actually quite an SEO disadvantage, and it works better if you've got the hosting set up in the actual country that you want to rank for. So, for example, we're based in Sofia in Bulgaria, but we have a ton of US hosting for money sites and obviously SEO sites, but they're kind of spread all around the world. But I would now kind of separate the hosting. IPs is probably better if you've got at least C-class difference in the IPs, and C-class is that third group of numbers. And I touch on that a bit inside SEO Traffic Hacks training. If you need direction to that through a link, you can just email support@terrykyle.net and I'll just direct you to that one. So I think that you can see here now it's kind of getting a lot more cautious and kind of just building in extra measures to sort of block potential manual penalties or some kind of punishment from Google. I think for me also, and this is a bit of a kind of future-proofing one, is to try to get as much anchor variation as possible. So the way that I do that, and I've kind of completely dropped, I know everybody has their own kind of principle or rule, and if that works for them, that's great. For me now, and this is working pretty well, I don't do any like 5% money terms and 10% brand anchors. I don't do anything like that. What I tend to do is on the initial foundation press release, which I talk about in the main SEO blueprint inside the training, on my press release I'll use raw URL links to a bunch of pages, inner pages including the home page. There's probably going to be a domain.com link there, but actually no terms, money terms or keyword anchors in the press release. And then what I do is I come along and I look at I'll put my site into the Google Keyword Planner, and actually I'll just show you what I mean on screen. So let's say, for example, that I own this thyroidweightloss.com, and I can guarantee that I don't own it. You can see here that Google is telling me these are the terms that this page is relevant for. Now, one of the interesting things is if I pick out one of these terms, and I did this on the term weight-reducing supplements, if you can see that up here in the top. So this page is shown as relevant for weight-reducing supplements, but actually that term doesn't appear anywhere on the page. And in fact, if we have a quick look over at this is KLKS, this is that electronic cigarette site that Greg Morrison has been talking about a lot, and it's featured here on this monetization example sites. You can go in there and read more about it in that part of the training. But if we actually have a look, what Greg did was he bought this old radio station website, and I think he's had it for like 6 months now, built a ton of links to it, and it's ranking and earning quite well in the electronic cigarette niche. But interestingly, if we come along and see what terms that's relevant for in the Google Keyword Planner, we can see here that's only coming back still with these radio terms. So I imagine these reflect a lot of the links to that site, but you can see it actually hasn't really updated to reflect anything that Greg has done with electronic smoking terms, electronic cigarette. Even though it's ranking for a lot of them, they're not being reflected here. So to come back to keyword anchors, I could start out with my own site, and you can see here that if I just move that down, so I've got 875 potential anchors there that I could use. And after I've kind of run out of my own, I can just start using competitors. So I'd look on page 1 and put their URL into the Google Keyword Planner. I'd be keeping a list so that I wasn't really repeating any, and you can see that it's just a huge amount of anchor text variation. And just to kind of prove the, how to make it kind of look natural, for example, if you put trafficplanner.com into Majestic here, you can see a lot of the anchors coming in here. So we've got all these site ones and negative SEO. Got a few. I've got a few spam ones from the past that have been removed, but quite a lot of variation there. Quite a bit just on the name, Traffic Planet and trafficplanet.com. Even to have things like misspellings or partial words and things like that, it's almost like for your anchor text, look at kind of the longer terms that people search for and just kind of keep varying it, mixing it up or whatever, keeping it low. And you are kind of using your on-page as the relevancy signal for Google. So, you know, when Penguin is run next time and they're looking at any over-optimization, especially on kind of money terms, as John Mueller from Google is always going on about, on the YouTube channel, I've got to actually add a link to that, the training area. You know, you built in a kind of at least insurance on that anchor text variation level, and you're just letting your on-page work for you for relevancy. Let me have a look at some questions. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's better. Okay, screen is lagging behind, so having a little trouble following what you're doing. Okay, Mark, I'll keep that in mind. There will be a video. I am recording this, and also there'll be the PowerPoint will be available. Where's the post on the Black Hat Forum, Public Blog Network in SEO Traffic Hacks? If you do a search, Kevin, on Anglo, just do a search there, you'll see the link to it. YouTube video ranking experiment going to start very, very soon. Just got a few other tests to get going. Okay, I think I'm up to date there. Okay, let's move on. So for me, healthy links, and I think one of the key elements here, and this doesn't include negative SEO, of course, you can't control that, and you know, I certainly hope you're not targeted by that. And you know, personally, I'm totally against negative SEO. I just think it's just awful, just horrible kind of use of SEO. I think going forward, it's really the links that you don't build, especially to a normal website. Parasite pages are in a different category, but it's the links that you don't build that really matter now. So for me, kind of the healthy looking links that you can build, we've got the press releases that I talked about. And I think one of the keys there, and I'll just show you an example in a moment, is to use that to build plenty of links to your inner pages and not just have everything channeled towards that home page. Let me just show you a quick example from James Schramko, one of his recent ones. So on James one here, and if you just watch down in this bottom left hand, you'll see when I run over these links. So this one is going to a page about the relationship between success and your environment. We come down to the next link, it's time for some new gear, so that's the second inner page. Productivity tips, environment is a key to success, and up here we've actually got a homepage link. So James has used that to target 4 different pages from one PR Web press releases. And I know that a lot of them go into the supplemental index, but it's still, I think, a good signal in there to have that your inner pages do have some links kind of on the record. Not to mention the fact that PR Web press releases can rank in their own right, and as I've written about on my blog, you know, some people seem to have their whole business just built around PR Web press releases. The next kind of healthy link, and obviously this is a harder one because the cost of entry can be higher, and you do need a few of them to make it work. You know, if you've got a PBN of like 5 links, unless you're going after pretty low competition terms, it's going to be pretty tough to rank for. So unfortunately, the thing about the PBN links is that these are really the heavy lifters. Some SEO guys do talk about press releases having SEO ranking value. I've never really had that experience myself. And, you know, in my own SEO teaching, I just sort of teach what I've seen working for me. But what I do like about press releases is they give a foundation of sort of completely normal backlinks that just normal blue chip mainstream kind of companies do use. But on that kind of natural backlink, we then have our own PBN links or a blog network links or a group of sites with good PR on the page where you can get contextual links in some relevant content. So you're going to need those actually, I think, in whatever form that might take. Those are pretty important. These are kind of lower in number, but have a look at also at doing some very high quality comments on blogs in your niche with good traffic. It's not something to do every day necessarily, but if you wanted to, be more of a commenter, you can do that with a tool like BuzzBlogger, for example. There is a review of that, a link to Matt Woodward's review of BuzzBlogger on in the SEO traffic hacks training area. The funny thing is about this high quality comments is it doesn't necessarily suit every kind of business, and using BuzzBundle doesn't necessarily suit every kind of business, especially local SEO. So a lot of SEO advice tends to be, and traffic generation advice seems to be built around being a good source of information. But if you're doing SEO for something like a funeral company, a local funeral company, or dry cleaners or something, that's a lot tougher to make that work. And I don't know that people are particularly interested in going and reading a funeral company's blog. So you've got to get a bit more creative there. And I think that's where you really do need something like your own private blog network is going to be crucial for that kind of client. Your normal content marketing, information marketing is going to be a tougher road on that one. Don't overlook your own internal links, and there is that post on SEO Traffic Hacks about Wikipediaizing your own internal links. So by that I mean, using your own posts pages if you're on WordPress, other pages where you're contextually linking to your most important pages, and you'll have your own hierarchy of which pages you want to rank for which particular terms above all. And there's kind of more tolerance on internal backlinks with anchor text than there is for external links coming in. I mean, it makes sense that you would link within your own website to your own pages for those particular terms. So I don't actually see contextual links being used that much inside many commercial websites, and it's a really easy SEO win, so definitely one not to overlook. Also, I think now you're going to need, let me just go back there, links, and these aren't huge for SEO power, but I think they just add that kind of, that appearance, the illusion of sort of a normal, proper, I don't want to use the term that much, but white hat sort of website. So you have a Google Plus profile, you have a YouTube channel, you have a LinkedIn profile, Twitter page, Facebook and things like that, and they link to your money site. I think what is useful is something like getting a lot of Facebook shares and likes, and what can be useful there is content locking, and a very good plugin for that is this one over on Code Canyon. I've got this one in SEO Traffic Hacks. You can see it there, Social Locker for WordPress. I think it's like $21 for you can use that on a single site if you want. And just to give you an idea of what that actually looks like on your site, so here, this kind of thing. I'm sure you've seen them all over the place, and just if you can get more of those social kind of things, I think more of value for kind of naturalizing your backlink profile rather than raw SEO power, which I think really comes from contextual links on high PR pages. But they're just good in that nice naturalizing, naturalization process for your backlinks. Let me just check my questions. Okay, we're all good, I think. I must be answering everyone's questions. Okay, let's move on. So just to recap very quickly on that anchor text which I talked about earlier, raw URLs and domain.com anchors on your press releases. You've got inner page links. Classic rookie mistake is to drive all of your links to your home page. And actually, just to prove, I just want to prove quickly, hadn't quite planned this. Let me just go over to Google quickly. So if we have a look for the search term Excel training, I think this one gets something like, I'm signed in at the moment, we'll just sign out. I think it gets something like about 5,500 searches a month. And on this term here, Excel training, this product here on Udemy is actually mine. This one here, I hired an Australian guy, Mike Lang, to create the course for me. It cost about $5,000. And for a long time it was here in second position, and it was beating Linda and a lot of other people who were very big in Excel. I couldn't knock over Microsoft.com. Unfortunately, that was a bit of a hard nut to crack, but it was second there for a long time. And I do know that this Udemy page actually has links from blog networks where ordinary sites have been gotten manual penalties, but you can see for this particular term, which just if you have a look at the ads, you can see a lot of people are going after this term because it's quite focused, and it's quite a big niche. Those blog network links that have hurt sort of ordinary sites have not hurt my Udemy page at all. And Udemy is one of those sites where it ranks very, very, very well. It responds really well to SEO quickly, and you can even put a free course up there for kind of lead generation. Mine isn't free. If we just go there, I think it's like $29.95 at the moment, but it's crazy saturated now, Udemy, with Excel training. The other problem is that Excel, we can see here, I think, where is it here? I've got my go to webinar. Yeah, like $29, I think it is now, this one. Yep. So I definitely don't recommend that you go into this niche. There are two problems with it. One is that Excel 2013 is a complete dog. It's just a shockingly bad program and a disgrace. And accountants everywhere and people who use Excel are just staying away from it completely. And the other is that, actually there are three reasons. The second is that Udemy is completely saturated and the Excel training niche is pretty much saturated now. And the third reason is that Udemy sales figures are not what they seem. And I know this because I'm on the list and I bought other courses there. A lot of the ones selling for like $99 have sold loads at $10 or given away loads for free just to kind of pump up their numbers. So if we come here onto the Udemy homepage, we can see here, for example, this one here from Infinite Skills, and it was their training that inspired me to go after this niche rather foolishly. We can see here they've got 53,000 students. I bet you something like 52,000 of those got it for $10 or for free just to pump up the numbers and make it seem like it was super popular. So I don't recommend that, but I think Udemy can be a very good option for lead generation, getting opt-in, where you use, for example, a mini course, whatever it is about, just to build the lists, because Udemy pages rank really, really well. Good option there. Gone off track a bit there, but hopefully worthwhile. So as I said, you want to enter your URL, your money site into the Google Keyword Planner, and you've got a whole bunch of keywords there. I showed you, for example, how when I put KLKS in there, the relevance came, it was radio station, nothing to do with smoking, just an interesting anomaly there. Now, you might actually run out of links. Personally, I don't try not to build more than a couple of hundred normal links to a website, typically. But if you do happen to run out, you can obviously start entering in your competitors' URLs into the Google Keyword Planner and use those keywords, but just try to avoid repeating and not just keep doubling up on lot. Use misspellings and partial words as well. And whenever you're looking for a completely natural, completely natural, un-SEO'd backlink profile, go and have a look at trafficplanet.com in Majestic or OpenSite Explorer or Ahrefs. It's had virtually no SEO work done to it, which I know is ironic, of course, but it does give you a good guide on natural sort of no-follow, do-follow ratios and anchor text and things like that. So anytime you need a benchmark on what a natural-looking backlink profile looks like, that's one you can go for. Let me just check my questions quickly. Okay. Looking good. I hope everyone can still hear me. Okay, moving on. This is a really thorny topic now, manual penalty removal, and this is what you get, those horrible warnings inside Google Webmaster Tools. And if your site hasn't been added to Google Webmaster Tools and you've noticed a rankings drop, and you then go and add it to a Google Webmaster Tools account, you'll see your manual penalty notice if you've been given one instantly. There's no delay. You'll see it there within seconds. It will just kind of pop in. Now, before I kind of get into this, it's, you know, as I said before, manual penalties have been giving out on a massive scale at the moment, and the SEO community is quite divided over whether the link disavowal tool actually works, whether reconsideration requests actually work. I haven't seen a huge amount of encouragement from reconsideration requests in terms of regaining original rankings, unfortunately. I think the jury is still a bit out on the link disavowal tool, you know, effectiveness. Even if you just kind of went through and disavowed everything and started from scratch with new quality links, would you get back those original rankings? Yet to see it. So it's a bit of a thorny issue, that one. As I said, at the moment, parasite pages with these PBN links are being ignored for the moment. Hopefully that will continue. A lot of the bigger blog networks, I think, are going to get targeted at the moment, and AngloRank, obviously, we talked about. This has been added, this YouTube video. It's a really good question, actually, and I'll flip over to that page. You've probably seen it already, but I just want to recap on it quickly. So we got this great question. I'm amazed Matt Cutts actually took it on. So how did Interflora turn their ban? This is their manual penalty in 11 days. Can you explain what kind of penalty they had? How did they fix it? As some of us have spent months trying to clean things up after an unclear Google Webmaster Tools notification. According to Matt Cutts, if we believe him, Interflora disavowed their previous year of links, the lot. Everything that had been built in the previous year had been disavowed, so they approved their reconsideration requests. I don't think little, smaller operators would necessarily get that kind of positive treatment, and the usual turnaround is 4 weeks. So, for example, it can be up to 4 weeks. So let's say you do some disavowal stuff, you get some links removed, you put in your reconsideration request. It can be up to 4 weeks before they give a response, which could be you haven't done enough, go away and clean up more links. Or you may not have even built those links in the first place, but now apparently it's your job to try to spend time to go and clean those up. Or even if you just disavow them, you could have to wait up to another 4 weeks, at which time they may tell you, no, you still have to go and do more work. So you can see it's a pretty tricky situation. I've also mentioned this in SEO Traffic Hacks. Chris Semper, and I do like his research work a lot, I'm less convinced by his tools, is sort of claiming, it's a bit longer when you actually read into the details, a 3-day turnaround at the optimum level, a best turnaround for a penalty removal using a tool of his. And you need to be at least at €349 a month, which is probably about $350 to $400 a month level, to get up to 10 uses of their tool, the Link Detox Boost, I think it's called. Excuse me. You can have a read of it afterwards. So we're in the process of upgrading our account. We're going to get a hold of some sites that have had manual penalties. If you'd like to submit one to us to include in that, you won't be charged, of course, for it, and we want to test out just how good that tool is. So if you've got a manually penalized site, just submit it to me through support@terrykyle.net, and we'll put it into the group. Obviously, I can't do 55 of them, but we can pick out some. Pick out one that you really like a manual penalty review, removed on, and we'll put it into the queue. We'll kind of sift through and look at the best examples there and add it. So we can then report those findings back. My own approach is, because I'm a pretty impatient guy, and that's kind of typical entrepreneur, I guess. So recently, for example, one site of mine that basically I've just used as an SEO test vehicle for the last couple of years, and I've abused the hell out of it, done all kinds of shockingly bad black hat things too. And recently, finally, ironically on my birthday, December 9th, it got hit with a manual penalty. And actually I was amazed it didn't get manually penalized like a year ago or much longer. And my approach there was, I'm going to report back the findings of this because I'd already had the site had sort of been designed a particular way with certain graphic elements and logos and things like that, had already been designed. Let's call it, say, bluewidgets.com. So all of the design on it says bluewidgets.com, blah, blah, blah. So what I've done is actually parked that domain, and I've copied all the content over to thebluewidgets.com. So just at a casual glance, it still looks like that, and I'm kind of just starting SEO completely from scratch on that. And I know if you have clients, they don't want to hear that, but I'm just trying to present another possible option here. So my parking and moving the content to a new domain with "the" in front of it, just to keep some kind of brand and continuity, wasn't totally necessary for this because it's not that kind of site, but I'm more interested from a test point of view. And as soon as I have any kind of details back, I'll be posting those in SEO Traffic Hacks, of course. So that is one option. In theory, and we're kind of doing a couple of separate tests on this at the moment, a 302 redirect is meant not to pass link juice and not to pass a penalty. And we want to see if that's actually true right at the moment. And the reason it might be useful is that you might actually want traffic from non-Google sources that are going to an old web page to just type in traffic. It might have a really good domain name or something. Type in traffic and come to a new domain with kind of similar-ish content through a 302, so they can come, so people can come. But in theory, the penalty won't. But again, we're going to report back on where that's out, because we don't want to just assume that what was fine 6 months ago or 12 months ago is actually the case today, because of course it's always changing. So in a nutshell there, just going forward, focus on your own, if possible, private blog network, and all of the setup instructions and how you go about that is covered in the training. But if you've got obviously questions there, and I've seen a couple today that I need to get to, I'll go into those in more detail. Let me just check my questions. Okay, let me just catch up on a few questions here. Stan has asked, what is the most cost-effective press release? PR Web is really expensive. PR Log is free. Then there's SB Wire, which is in the middle. Thoughts on that? Interestingly, Stan, I see all three of them ranking, but I see PR Web doing better. And you can actually have a $99 level of press release with PR Web, but you don't get things like a video or an image or a file attachment. So if you're just using it for links, that could be perfectly fine. The $99 option, that could be a goer. And if you can, I mean, it doesn't take that long to write a press release. Just write a couple more. You can put them through into SB Wire through Fiverr for $5. PR Log is free. You can put them in there. PR Web is the daddy. I mean, I've looked a lot, and I've had a lot of phone calls with Vocus, I think is the company for PR Web, and with it could be Reuters with them as well on SEOs. I didn't tell them I was SEO because I hate that, but offering a better price press release service, and their subscription prices are just crazy expensive, just like mad, absolutely mad. So I would look at all three. If you can get the $99 PR Web one, that's great. You've also got the Joe Hughes option on Traffic Planet, $77. I'm almost certain that does include SBY in that one, and Joe's team do write a pretty good press release, and I've always used that service as well. And if it's on a really important one, I'll actually do Joe Hughes and the PR Web press release as well. Jeff has asked, what is the suggested method for helping a site that drops significantly in ranking but no manual penalty, that has over-optimized anchor text? A couple of things, Jeff. Do you have control over the backlinks? Can you go and actually edit any of them? If you can't, you need to build more links, and that's where something like a press release run, for example, is probably the safest kind of way. You can get some other backlinks to dilute that down. And what I would also do is have a close look at whether you're building links to inner pages and not just targeting all of those at the home page. But if you want to come back to me on email or in the training area, you're very welcome to. Okay. Alex has asked about SAPE links, pretty dangerous. If they're worth investing in, I wouldn't. SAPE have been on Google's radar for ages, and if any network is the number one target, that SAPE is definitely it. Let me just scrolling down. Tony's lost it. I hope he's come back. Yep, Daryl, I'll come back to you on email in more detail in that. Peter has asked how many private blog network sites with links to your money site can you host at the same host? The thing is, you've got to have IP variation, and I mean at least C class, and quite often you don't get that with some companies. It'll be just D class, which is the very last group of numbers. The ideal, Peter, is if you can have, and believe me, it's a massive hassle, and we deal with issues on this every single day of the week. The ideal is to have lots of little accounts, little hosting accounts spread all over the world. Little like kind of $2, $3, $5 hosting accounts just spread all over. That's kind of the best thing, because what we're really doing is creating the illusion of viral popularity. So, for example, if Google looked at a fan site for AC/DC, for example, that great Australian band, they would see links from Japan, Brazil, Switzerland, Ukraine, Iceland, everywhere, and that kind of looks very natural, creating that viral popularity. So if you can, I would recommend doing that. If you can't, and for convenience, you're using SEO hosting companies, and remember they're on Google's radar as well, and they have gone after them in the past and de-indexed whole IP ranges. If you have to do that, make sure you've at least got C-class IP variation, and try to have at least some sites built outside of it. Hopefully that answers your question there, Peter. Leon has asked, is it okay to use the same press release article for many press release submission? Well, when you do a press release submission, it is the same article going out in that particular submission. And probably I don't think you'll get that then approved at a different syndication service. They probably do check that. I've always just got another one written because they're pretty short, and I can target some other pages with the other backlinks. Okay, Peter has asked there, will Google think it's okay to have links from 3 different sites with the same IP to your money site if you also have diversity. If your backlink profile has like 5 links or 8 links, it's probably going to seem a bit strange. But if you've got like 974, it's probably going to be a lot better. You know, there are only so many IPs, but just try as much as possible to spread them around. But I think if your backlink profile is big enough, it shouldn't be an issue. Does setting your domain ownership to private protect you from Google finding the owner? David, this is a really hotly debated issue in SEO circles because Google is also technically, I think, a domain registrar, and it can look behind who is privacy protection. But what I do know from my own experience is that I've seen de-indexing go way down when we systematically applied who is privacy on. So Google probably could do it and might do it, but I have seen it work so far in practice, which is good. And the other thing we've experimented with, and I'm not necessarily encouraging you to do this because it is a violation of your domain company's terms of service, is that we've actually just put fake details in and fake email address into specific sites. And those didn't have privacy protection, so we just put those in just to kind of monitor and see what happened. Okay, let me just look through the questions. I'll just come back to these. I mean, I'm getting great questions here. I'll just wrap up on the next page and just quickly, we've got free extra services if you want to try them out on SEO Traffic Hacks. We've got Keyword Snatcher. Let me just show that very quickly. You may have seen it. So here we can do searches for you, and that can bring something like 50,000 search terms. We give you the raw list from Keyword Snatcher. You would then need to go back to your Google Keyword Planner and split them into groups of like 800 and upload them and check the results and recombine them. It used to be with that hack that I found, you could upload up to 10,000 into the Google Keyword Planner. Unfortunately, Google have stopped that because it was actually useful. So Keyword Snatcher you can use. Market Samurai, if you've been on the fence about using it, we can also offer that. Mainly for SEO competition, I think you'd probably want it. You can just send the details through to Maggie at terrykyle.net. That's MAGGIE at terrykyle.net, and usually we'll get those back within 24 hours. Just bear in mind the office here is only open from Monday to Friday. Let me just come back quickly just to wrap up and just so we can get on to more Q&A. If there are other kind of services you want, I actually really wanted to offer that link detox boost to SEO Traffic Hacks members just through our account, but unfortunately they only give 10 credits a month on those. I would love to have just offered that, but unfortunately we just can't. So if you've got other tools that you think we could run that you wouldn't need to, we're definitely very open to potentially offering those. Okay. We're officially onto our Q&A time now, so let me just come back to questions. So Peter has asked, is there anything I can do about de-indexing private blogs after I convert them into another topic? I think what you mean here, Peter, if I'm understanding you correctly, is how do you kind of prevent them getting de-indexed when you change the topic? Typically that isn't the problem, but if you can try to have better, if you're using spun content, for example, try to have better quality spun content that can pass quite a few, it's got to at least pass Copyscape. That's going to help a lot. I also like to make very media-rich pages, which have to have relevant YouTube videos, pictures, outbound authority links, and quite often outbound authority links to PDFs, which I think Google likes a lot. I don't have any scientific evidence of that. It's just a gut feel on PDFs. Okay, Leon has asked, should I use Switchbox SEO for all of my backlinks for safety from Google manual penalty? Apart from press release links, I would do that, yes. Yep, I would. Okay, Jeff is asking, are high PR sites that have lost their rankings but don't have a manual penalty or de-indexed still good for links and passing PR? Absolutely. In fact, almost all of the PR sites I've ever used and bought have no rankings really for anything, and they work great. If the PR is there and you need to do your due diligence, Jeff, of course, and just follow those steps that I talked through in the training, should be absolutely fine. Daryl is asking, how big should your own PBN be in terms of grouping? For example, do you have clusters of blogs 10, 20? Do you make sure you keep them separate as well as when adding new clients? Depends on the budget of the client, Daryl, but I think, for example, Greg Morrison, when he talked about that KLKS site that he got ranking in electronic cigarettes, he used about 40 PBN sites. But that's quite a competitive term, and since he came out talking about that niche, a lot more people are going after it. I must admit, even I am. We're building a site on it right at the moment. Could be more of a test site actually for SEO stuff, but it could be quite a few. If we do have a client whose budget can afford a grouping, so for example, they're paying in the thousands, like a corporate client in London will definitely set up their own PBN, and really then it becomes a question of just adding enough sites to it until they're getting the ranks that they want. David has asked, if I wanted to rank a local service for a term like Vancouver Plumber but not have any links directly to the site, how to do that? Would it be enough to create a few local sites of my own, send PBN links to them, and then have my sites linked to the clients? I would. And what you're talking about here is also kind of site rental for local SEO, which is a very good option. In my view, what you want to do, David, in SEO is you want to have full control of your backlinks, and you want to have as much control as possible of the sites that you are using for your business. Now, obviously, you can't always have control of the sites because you might be doing a client site, but if you have control of the links, then you definitely are in the stronger position, because if a high-ranking client starts mucking you around or doesn't pay or whatever, you can remove the links and their rankings will tank pretty quickly. What I would do for something like a term like that is look around at parasite page properties that are already ranking. So in the States, for example, you've got the Yelps and I think it's Backpage, and a few of those kind of sites can work for local. I know you're worried about the link on those going to your client site. I mean, it's really the human traffic you want. Depending on how you can configure your link on those parasite pages, you could make it no follow. That's one possibility. Would require a bit more research and checking on that. Leon has asked, is it okay to use new TK domains for Switchbox SEO? We're still testing that out, Leon. At the moment, I would use just like a .pw, .co, .cc, something like that. We're still checking out .tk domains for that purpose. Let me just get down. Jorgie's asked a great question here. Is page authority as good as page rank? Because I keep finding expired domains with page authority as high as 40 or 50, but with PR0, are those useful for a PBN? One of the things, Matt Woodward and I are working soon, we're doing this huge comparison on PR from like over 1 million websites. It's like a crazy, crazy test. We're still getting around to designing it properly, comparing Majestic, Ahrefs, and Open Site Explorer with PageRank, and just seeing what we find in those comparisons. What I can tell you is that an Open Site Explorer is quite easy to game with junk links. So you could see very high page authority because of a lot of junk links. So it's a question of going in and individually looking at each of the best pages for it. As I've talked about Georgie, in buying H-domains, I like to use all the tools. I like PageRank. I want to use Majestic. I want to use Ahrefs. I want to use Open Site Explorer. I don't use SEO Spyglass anymore because it just couldn't find enough links. And often I'll see completely different sets of good links from each tool. And then I go in and I still have a look at PageRank and I still want to see what's going on there. But if I'm seeing pretty weak links, like if you've got a 40 to 50 page authority site in Moz, Open Site Explorer, but very weak links coming back in Ahrefs or Majestic, I'd be suspicious of that. You know, I'd look at that, but I try to use them in combination, and it's a tricky one because PageRank, Google sort of ignored it for so long this year, but it's still, you know, in my business and what we're doing here, still can't quite let go of PageRank because I don't see consistent enough, quite single alternative from the others, so I do like to use them all together. Steve asks, once bought, how to prevent PR loss, links from other PR pages, not sites, but PR pages. So if you can get an equal or higher PR link or links elsewhere to a site, that's going to help get you through. Leon is asking, high PR directory submission, still good for SEO. I would only do Yahoo and DMOZ, and I would only do them through a redirect. I wouldn't actually bother going there. And you can pick one of those up for like $23 if you use Register Compass, or if you really want one, Leon, and you don't have Register Compass, just email me and I'll find some options for you there. Get your domain that already has DMOZ, already has Yahoo directory backlink. Possibly it could be in your niche, more likely not, but you never know, we might get lucky. You can buy it and redirect it to your site. Peter has asked, SEO Spyglass, is it missing high PR links? Otherwise a combination to Market Samurai and SEO Spyglass. I don't do that, Peter, anymore. I used to use Spyglass for a long time, but I've dropped it now and I just go with you know, Majestic, Ahrefs, and Open Site Explorer. I think SEO Spyglass has got a bit of a way to go to kind of catch up to the game now. Okay, let me just scroll down on other questions here. A lot of great questions here, actually, by the way, good issues. Hopefully my answers are addressing your questions well enough. Donald asks, do I have training for getting cheap domains for your PBN? The cheapest in the world, like if you can get PR3s and 4s and occasionally even a 5 for $25 or thereabouts, something like $20 to $30 each, you won't find those prices anywhere else. Neil has a question here. Does Google look at unnatural backlink profile of individual pages or sites as a whole? Panda tends to look more at sites as a whole, and Penguin tends to target individual pages. So I can't generalize on that, Neil, but if you see that you're still ranking really well for quite a few terms and a few have sunk away badly, that's kind of a classic sign that the Penguin filter has been run again and you've been hit on those particular pages. Looking down here, I don't want to go too far over time, but I think I've got most of them here. Jeff has asked, for low-cost PR3 and 4 sites, are you actually finding ones with the backlink profile will maintain that PR? Like kind of everything in this process in business, Jeff, it's definitely sifting the gold from the dirt. And most of the, you know, you'll find a lot of kind of poor ones there, but you can find the good ones there, and they're definitely out there. David has asked, sorry I missed it, what was $25? That was like, could have been the Yahoo directory backlink and DMOZ directory backlink to one domain that you can redirect to your site. when you say, so Jeff has asked, would you mind saying those PR sources again? I think you mean press release, Jeff. If you are, it's by PR, not PageRank. So PageRank, okay, PageRank sources. Well, you don't so much have PageRank sources when comparing those domains, but you have their own version of PageRank. Yep. So, for example, in Majestic, they've got their own version, their own way they gauge. They've got citation flow and trust flow, and then you've got their own version on Open Site Explorer and also on Ahrefs. They've got all of their own scales, and that's the thing Matt Woodward and I. Okay, I think he means we're buying the $40 PR4 sites. I use Register Compass, and I then go to, these are GoDaddy closeouts that you can buy now. So that's all covered in how to buy domains, checking the quality of domains in the training and SEO traffic hacks. It's all a combination of Register Compass with GoDaddy closeouts, because I hate auctions and they waste too much time. So those combination of those tools should get you into some good domains. Not $40, but more like $25 should be there. Peter has said high PR has become much cheaper these days. A lot of more and more fake PR ones out there, so you've got to make sure you do your due diligence. And there are like crazy high PR domains out there for low money, like PR9 for $200 and stuff, crazy things that are obviously fake. Yep. Okay, if we can just have a last, I'll just do maybe like another, I'll just go for like another half a dozen questions, and please follow up on support@terrykyle.net, and I definitely will get back to you. Let me just come here. So Dale has asked, once you let a website expire and you want to repurpose the content on another site, how long do you wait to add it? If I've kind of switched off the original site, Daryl, I do it immediately. If I parked the original site, you know, if it's empty, I do it kind of straight away. Chuck has asked, would redirecting multiple emails and Yahoo directory domains to a parasite page have a better effect than redirecting a single such domain? It might, Chuck. I haven't tested multiple to a parasite page, but I have checked it with normal domains, and it doesn't seem to make a huge difference. Doesn't seem to help, but definitely something worth trying, and it's something we can look at in testing in traffic hacks. Jorgi is asking, is there any way to avoid paying the additional fees from GoDaddy when buying closeout domains? Even if the domain is $9, you still are going to need to pay a $20 fee. We haven't found a way around it, Georgie, but you've got to use a coupon. So if you do a Google search on a current GoDaddy coupon code, that will actually usually work with expired domains. So if you've got the right kind of coupon code, I'll check which one we're using. If you want to pop me an email, and I'll check the one we're currently using, which is working, and I'll send that over so that you can use it as well. Peter's asked how many links I think can I have at my front page with, let's say, 600 words, as many as you want. No, but seriously, this is such a big question because it's been debated for ages, like does the number of links, I have actually seen an interview with Matt Cutts where he sort of kind of indicated that the number of links on a page doesn't actually divide up PageRank. I'll find that for our next webinar because it's quite interesting and enlightening. But when I used to run homepage backlinks back in the day, we used to have 100 links on a PR site, and we for most, not all, but most of the clients using that, we got amazing rankings, even with like 100 links on a single page. If the PR was high enough, we used a lot of PR5s in that setup. So more links still might not be a problem, not as much as you think. Glad to help, Georgie, and just send over your email. best use case for wikifying internal links versus siloing. I'll get into siloing. I've got very strong opinions on siloing, and I think that's a great point, Eve, for the next webinar, and even for, I know I've got to update a post on it inside the training. So I do want to talk a lot more about silos, but I do see in most cases a good response, a good result, like even just bumping up a couple of spots on wikifying internal links if it's done properly. Leon has asked, my site is on a US server and targets Google US. What if some of the pages on this site want to target UK audience? I do address that if you go into my killer SEO hacks area on the training, I do talk about targeting different parts of the site to different countries. So if you head in there, Leon, you'll find it. Will many links from one site to the same money site help? Really interesting question, Peter, because there is link decay after the first link to a site. And what I've found actually works quite well is to, if you can set up your like your PBNs or your linking sites this way, is to make them different kind of links. So, for example, you might have an anchor link or a URL link, but then you have an image link. And even though there is decay, from the first link to the second, it's still, I'm pretty sure there's still some juice to be had from that extra link. What I have seen, the negative example, and I haven't yet seen this disproven, is repeating anchor text can be absolutely kill the link juice. So let's say you've got a page, a PR4 page, and you put 4 links, all with the anchor text of blue widgets on. I find that there seems to be some kind of duplicate anchor text penalty. So don't do that, and just try to mix up the type of the link there. So if you've got like an image and a text link, that actually can work and is a good option to go for. Okay. Looks like I've more or less caught up on the questions there. If I've missed an earlier question, please just send it over to me on support@terrykyle.net. So I'm just reading questions as I'm talking there. Or if you post inside SEO Traffic Hacks, I do get an email notice about that, but if you need faster action, please just email me and I'll send it over. And I can see we've got, from the questions here, we've got some really great areas to explore in the training and also for the next webinar. So let me just come back here. Just controlling what's going on. So guys, thank you very much for a really good webinar, and hopefully you've gotten a lot out of it and there's useful information there. And as I say, just fire those questions through on email if you need a bit more detail or if the specifics of your question wasn't quite covered there. So thank you and have a good day or evening wherever you are, and I'll talk to you on the next webinar. Thank you.